Maury, the Chief Scientific Officer, aka Genius of Viacord. Yeah, Genius, who has been a part of this since the beginning, right? Tell me how long you've been a part of it and what's your role here?
Well, it's been almost 25 years, Rosie. I'm a stem cell biologist by training, and I'm scientific founder of Viacord.
So, 25 years, there's been so many advancements that I've even heard of over the last few years. There must have been so many things that have happened over those years. You can hardly believe. Tell me a little bit about some of the new areas of research, but also some of the original ones and how far they've come.
Yeah, 25 years ago, we had no expectations that there'd be much more you could do with the cord blood than you can do with bone marrow. But now, since the first transplant in 1988, there's now been over 30,000 transplants. And at this point, 22% of all transplants are done using cord blood. So it's really become a standard source for transplants, even in adults.
This is something you hear in the media, stem cells, and there can be different things people talking about, but this is not something that may happen in the future. You guys are actually really processing, freezing, and using to save lives and discovering new things. This is not a crazy sort of mystical science of the future. It's now.
It's now. What's been really exciting is in the last 5 or more years, we've seen a shift in the use of cord blood in experimental clinical trials for children with brain damage, for instance, in cerebral palsy, or with autoimmune diseases like type 1 diabetes, or even autism, where there's dysfunction of the brain. And we're not necessarily talking about curing these diseases. We're talking about making their outcomes better so that a kid with cerebral palsy can, perhaps ride a bike or write or speak better or attend first grade and be more functional, which is very important to parents.
So I guess one of the things it's hard for parents, but also important to know is that in order to be involved in these trials, in order to maybe have the cord blood later to be treated, to use for treatment, you have to make that decision though before you have your baby, so it can be collected at the time of delivery.
Yeah, I know every parent hopes that their baby is fine, and the fact is, though, if something does go wrong, you want to have as many options as you can, and you need to understand the value of these stem cells. And that's something you have to think about when you're thinking of, I know families are painting nurseries and buying strollers, and there's a lot of expenses involved, but there's nothing more valuable than the health of your child, and you won't have another chance to go back and get these. That's for sure.
What do you sort of hold as the greatest achievement here at Viacord?
I think the greatest achievement is really in our results. We've released over 300 units to treat children. About 150 or more of those have been used in transplants, and we do follow them. We do track the efficacy of the treatments, and we've seen in units that we've released for transplant 88% survival, which is the highest reported for any bank. So we're very proud of that, and it has a lot to do with how we process the units.
That's high, because these things that you're treating, they're not like a little sickness. I mean, we're talking these serious diseases.
Yeah, these are serious, life-taking diseases.
What's the thing you would like parents to think about most when they're making this decision?
Well, first, I'd like them to think that they're going to have a healthy baby and never use the stem cells. I think what they have to do is understand that this is a brief moment in time, really comes down to minutes after the birth when the cord blood and the cord tissue is available. So they need to be thinking about that well in advance, and they need to consider their options for storing the unit in the best possible way.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think as a parent, as you said, you never want to think of your child getting sick, but if you do choose to bank and you do choose to have that option if it comes up, I mean, you gotta know that it's safe. The thought that you could make all those choices and then it might not be safe is terrible. So knowing that what you guys are doing here at Viacord is going to protect that choice is a great thing. Thank you so much. I feel like I've learned so much today. And as a parent making all these really difficult choices, I feel good knowing that I chose to bank with Viacord.